Welcome board members, staff, appellants, and citizens to the July 12th Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting of the City of Mishawaka. Introduction of the staff, I'll go start at my left. Derek Spear, our city planner. David Bent, our legal counsel. In the back of the room, we have Ken Prince, who's the executive director. To my right, we have Krista Hill in the middle over there. She's our senior planner. Shad Annis, our associate planner, and Carrie Myers, administrative planner. And Carrie, would you please call the roll tonight? I think we're all here.
Larry Stilson?
Yes.
Michael Portleys?
Yes.
Chris Torty?
Here.
Denise Graves?
Here.
Joel Dendu?
Here.
Great. And so that brings us to the rules of procedure, which are up on the screen to my left. So first we'll hear a presentation by the appellate. For each item, we will ask those participating in the room to speak first, followed by those participating online. Have a little patience if there are people online. We got to go from in the room to online, and it takes a little extra time. And then we'll talk with those who wish to speak in favor of the appeal. Those who wish to speak against the appeal will be after that. If you have general questions, you don't know whether you're speaking for or against the appeal, I recommend you do it at the against. Then we'll combine all of our questions that we may have for the appellate to do a rebuttal to answer all of those questions that we have. Then we'll close the public hearing. After the public hearing's closed, we can only discuss these items amongst the commissioner or amongst the board members. And then we'll have a discussion and then a board vote. I would ask that all the speaking be done at the podium so it can all be on the record with a microphone. And when you do come up, please state your name clearly and give your address so Carrie Myers can take your information down appropriately. Okay, the previous minutes from last month were distributed to the board members, and hopefully you reviewed them. And is there any questions or concerns regarding those minutes? Then I will take a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And those previous minutes pass. Is there any conflict of interest by the board members for any items on the agenda tonight? No, 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 no? No. All right. Well, great. We'll move right into it, which means I gotta put these on. Public hearing appeal 22-20. An appeal submitted by Richard A. Jr. and Rachel L. Cairo requesting a developmental variance for 724 Elm Street to allow a new solid fence with a 0-foot exterior side yard setback. Is there somebody here in the council chambers to talk on hearing 22-20 and present it? No, is there somebody online regarding appeal 22-20? We'll give it about 3 minutes here in case, or 30 seconds, and see if you got it on mute or something. Did you hear about anybody being online for this? No?
No.
Okay, one last time. Presentation on 22-20. Anyone? Hearing no one, I will take a motion to move this to the next meeting.
So
Take it
moved.
off the agenda.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, appeal 22-20 is a no-show, and we will move that to the next meeting, if it's still on there. That brings us to the next item, appeal 22-21, an appeal submitted by All Secure Storage, County Road 17 LLC, requesting various developmental variances for 16996 State Road 23 for reduced separation from residential property, reduction in landscape, increased fence height for a proposed mini storage facility. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Hughes. I'm the project civil engineer for this project. My address is 3220 Southview Drive in Elkhart. And with me is the general contractor for the project also. There are 3 elements that we'd like to request variances from. The first is that no storage use is allowed within 250 feet of any residential use, and that would overlap the entire property. It's an odd-shaped piece, and so that's the first thing we're requesting a variance from. The second is that the ordinance requires a 7-foot-high fence, and fences usually come in 6-foot or 8-foot heights, so we're requesting a 6-foot fence. The ordinance also requires trees that are 8-foot high at planting, which is not generally available, so we're requesting plants that are 5-foot high at planting. And then the spacing of those plants. We have a 10-foot landscape strip, so to have a fence and plants in that same 10 feet would be kind of congested and hard for the owner to maintain. So we're asking for a 20-foot spacing on the plants. The proposed use is self-storage. You can see the proposed site plan. 2 existing buildings and one future building in the center, and then buildings along the edges as well. Retention basin at the east end that would meet the city drainage requirements. That's our petition. I'd be happy to address any questions.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Hughes?
Ms. Hughes, the planning department requested 15-foot spacing. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's still a reduction from the 10 and what allows for them to be maintained in between. So I thought that was a reasonable counter proposal.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
On Appeal 22-21, is there anybody else in the council chambers or online wishing to speak in favor of the appeal? Is there anybody in the council chambers or online wishing to speak against the appeal 22-21? Hearing none. Any additional info?
Just a point of clarification, so the fence that's required to be around it is 7 feet in height per ordinance is what's required. So actually, they're wanting to do an 8-foot high fence, not a 6-foot. So they're wanting to go even taller. So
Oh. Okay, good clarification. Thank you. Okay, that closes our public hearing. Is there any board discussion? Any board discussion? Then I will
So
take a motion.
I just want to be clear, we're voting on 15 feet on center for the landscape and 8 feet for the fence height. Is that what the,
correct.
Yeah, you can state it if you want to.
well, I will move that Appeal 22-21 be approved with 15 feet on center for landscaping and 8 feet for, well, I guess if the fence only requires 7 feet, 8 feet for the fence as well.
I have a first.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Carrie, would you please call for the vote?
Larry Stilson,
Yes.
Michael Porterlies,
Yes.
Chris Torty,
Yes.
Denise Graves,
Yes.
Joel Dendu.
Yes.
And Appeal 22-21 passes unanimously. Thank you. And that brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is Appeal number 22-22. An appeal submitted by DEV 4506 Lincoln Way East LLC requesting a sign variance for 4506 Lincoln Way East to allow 2 oversized directional signs on Bittersweet Road frontage. Hello.
Hi there. Steve Ruby, Avamars Consulting, representing the petitioner, 315 West Jefferson, South Bend, Indiana. Petitioner is asking to allow for a variance on directional signage to the property. Currently, the address, and has always been the address, located off of 4506. The entrance, however, is located on the Bittersweet access point. So the owner the petitioner feels that adequate sizing of directional signage would be improved to help direct traffic to the main entrance of this. So if you would take a Google search, it'll bring you on the Lincoln Way address location. And from that point, the visual, because there's a monument sign on that corner, knowing where the entrance point is off of Bittersweet, having a larger directional sign to address that would assist in that vehicular traffic moving into and out of the proposed car wash that is going in here. So they're requesting the size be increased to 16 square feet and the height be increased to 60 inches, which is up from the 8 square feet and a 3.5 or 42-inch height requirement. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So one of the first things that we look at on these reports is what the staff recommends, and they flat out recommend denial on this. And can you shed some?
I
Oh,
don't.
no, no, no,
No,
no, no, no, no,
that's the
I'm
next
sorry,
one.
I got the wrong one.
That's the next one.
I got the wrong sign.
News to me, but
Steve is like,
I scared the next guy. I got the wrong one, sorry.
no, not a problem.
Too many papers on my desk. We'll move on. Is there any other questions?
I guess looking at it, I mean, I see what you guys are doing, so the Lincoln Way frontage is what the address is.
Yes.
As I look at this.
Correct.
But you're not directing people from Lincoln Way around to Bittersweet. You're telling me like, I'm here for the
So-
entrance.
Yes, so the main monument sign sits off of the Lincoln Way location, so people can see that coming on Lincoln Way to identify that. From there, because there's no entrance on the Lincoln Way side, they have to turn up Bittersweet North,
Okay.
or as they're coming south, and that creates that visual. The larger signs help to direct that traffic into the actual entry point to the car wash facility.
So your only sign is that monument sign? The only, other than these?
There's other signage on the building which is allowed through the ordinance,
Okay.
yes.
Given the number of people that use Waze and other kinds of apps of that nature, this makes sense, because if the address is on Lincoln Way, you need to direct people to where the actual entrance is. So I could see from that standpoint, it'd be necessary to reroute from Waze.
Yeah, and that's one of the concerns that they have with
Yeah,
this.
I can see that.
Can we clarify, what does the ordinance state about the number of signs on a property?
I cannot recall, there's one main monument sign, correct?
one main monument sign.
One freestanding sign per lot. And
Okay.
then they're allowed 2 directional signs at each entrance per the smaller, the 8 square feet and 3.5
Okay.
tall. So
Yeah.
it's
So these are their
freestanding.
directional signs?
These are the directional signs, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And I note that the staff recommends approval. And I apologize once again.
No, just for clarification too,
I flipped your thing over and I had the other one, the next one printed out.
just for clarification as well, these signs would be per the recorded plat set back 10 feet beyond so that there's adequate visual clearances for vehicular traffic exiting as well.
Sure. Any other questions for Mr. Ruby? Nope, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the council chambers or online wishing to speak in favor of Appeal 22-22?
Good evening. My name is Joe Grable. I reside at 602 Lincoln Way East in Mishawaka. I'm here on behalf of Spring Mill LLC, or rather Spring Mill Investments LLC and Wenigson LLC. We own 3 properties in close proximity, both on Bittersweet and on Lincoln Way to this property. And we have no objection to this. I think Drive and Shine does a great job. They take great care of their facilities and they're making a sizable investment here. The variances that they ask for, I don't think are abusive at all, and I'm highly supportive of it. Any questions?
No. Now you wish you brought those tomatoes, right? On Appeal 22-22, is there anybody else in the council chambers or online wishing to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anybody in the council room or online wishing to speak against Appeal 22-22? Any other information?
None.
Just a clarification again. Mr. Ruby said 60 inches. It's actually 72 inches, which is 6 feet. So I think maybe just misread his document as 60 inches when it was supposed to be 6 feet. So it's 72 inches, but
72, okay. Got it. Thank you for that clarification. And that closes the public hearing. And is there any discussion? If not, I'll take a motion. 22-22.
I move for approval of 2222.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Carrie, would you please call for the vote?
Excuse me, Larry Stilson,
Yes.
Michael Porterlease,
Yes.
Chris Torty,
Yes.
Denise Graves,
Yes.
Joel Denton.
Yes.
And 22-22 passes unanimously. That brings us to Appeal 22-23, an appeal submitted by Don J. and Margaret Colwicky requesting a sign variance 3703 Grape Road to increase the height of the existing billboard from 37 to 42 feet. Hello.
I think I'm the one that
Yep.
had the negative recommendation. My name is Terry O'Brien. I am the real estate manager for Lamar Advertising. Lamar maintains office space at 1335 Mishawaka Avenue in South Bend. For you that are not aware, Burkhardt Advertising has operated in South Bend since the 60s. On May 4th of this year, Lamar Advertising acquired Burkhardt. Burkhardt, during the 17 years that I've worked for them, have always prided themselves on safety and liability concerns. And the current sign meets all of OSHA's requirements. When Lamar came in and acquired us and did their due diligence, they came to Burkhardt and identified a handful of locations that were a safety concern, not based upon OSHA standards, but based upon Lamar standards. So the reason why we're asking to increase the height between 5 and 7 feet is if you look at that picture, you will see that the roof of certified transmission is approximately 1 to 2 feet above the bottom of the sign. By raising the height, it will eliminate the possibility of an individual gaining access to the roof and then gaining access to our sign and falling off the sign. Now, the staff report, as I mentioned at the beginning, was negative. It is negative based upon the precedent that it might send, if approved. Lamar has not identified any other sign within the city limits of Mishawaka that is a safety concern that requires requires the height of the sign to be increased. So yes, it might set a precedent, but if I came to you and asked to put a different sign on Grape Road, raise it 5 feet, I wouldn't have the safety concern or the safety issue, or the liability concern or the liability issue. Any
Mr.
questions?
Mr. O'Brien, has there been safety issues with people climbing on them? So you think this is
Burkhardt has never experienced that.
okay, got it.
But Lamar has been in business for 102 years. It is a family-managed business. The Riley family has owned them or managed them since 102 years ago. And it must have happened somewhere.
Right.
Otherwise, they would not have come to us and told us this was a concern. So I have other sign locations that are 3 or 4 feet off the ground. And they've asked us to increase the height of those also, but not to the extent where there's any type of buildings.
How long has this sign been here at this height?
1989 is when it
And
was
you haven't
constructed.
had any issues?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you tell me what safety measures you take to keep people from climbing the signs?
It's basically a deterrent. You know, if it takes a significant amount of effort to get on a sign that is 20, 30 feet off the ground. The guys that change the ads show up with a pickup truck and they put the ladder in the bed of their pickup truck, connect it to the ladder on the sign to get themselves up there. In this case, that ladder is very, very close, or too close in Lamar's opinion, to the roof line.
Is there an industry standard?
I am not aware of an industry standard. As I said before, this meets OSHA, but it doesn't meet Lamar's standards because their standards are significantly more restrictive than OSHA. We don't have any other signs that I am aware of that is that close to a building, that is that close to the roof line. The other ones that they've asked me to raise are somewhere along a railroad track that is 4 feet off the ground.
Sure. So you're looking to protect illegal activity, not your workers? Am I reading that right?
Correct.
Thank you. Any further questions? Oh, thank you. Is there anybody else in the council chambers or online wishing to speak in favor of Appeal 22-23? Hearing none, is there anybody in the council room or online wishing to speak against Appeal 22-23? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for any discussion or further information.
I'm sorry. I have a question for David, all right? If this is denied, they came to us with the approach that this is for safety. If we deny this and in fact somebody does climb and is hurt, is the city open for, to liability under those circumstances? Okay, all right, that would be.
Great question.
Yeah, that would be a concern, that if our denial of this, in fact, as a result of that, somebody does get hurt. I wonder if, that's my question, but you don't think that we would be open to any liability issue? Okay, all right,
Thank you, David. Thank you, Mr. Stolzen.
yeah.
Any further questions or discussions? If not, I will take a motion on Appeal 22-23.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we deny Appeal 22-23.
I second.
We have a deny motion and a second. Denise Graves?
Larry Stillson,
No. I mean, I'm sorry, yes to the denial.
Yes.
Yes.
Mike Portalease,
Yes to the denial.
Chris Torty,
Yes.
Denise Graves,
Yes.
Joel Dendu.
Yes.
And the motion is denied unanimously. Which brings us to the next item on the agenda is Appeal 22-24. An appeal submitted by Cat Mishawaka LLC requesting a developmental variance for 655 West University Drive for reduction of lot frontage and parking setback due to subdividing an existing parcel. Note that the appellate has requested this to be continued to the August 9th meeting. I will take a motion on that.
Motion that we table?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Carrie, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that is tabled. Any old business?
None,
New business?
none.
Privilege of the floor for anybody? None, then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.